Who told you? Who told you? Who told you? Who told you? You what? God designed.
What's going on, board buddies? Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Boerboel Show. I'm your host, Jordan Pittman with Exotic Boerboels, the most passionate, enthusiastic Boerboel breeder person that you're ever going to meet. I love the dogs. I'm here to tell you all about them from my position of 17 years of experience. Breaking them down. We're going to tell you, I'm going to try to share. Our goal here is to share with you as much information and arm you with the knowledge. I hope everybody had a great weekend. I hope everybody had a great week up until this point. I hope you've been active and busy with your dogs and engaging with your dogs and enjoying the show and the live streams that we've been doing. We had to really step our game up because they tried to take us out on the Facebook. Good thing that we practice redundancy, and we have multiple Facebook pages, but they knocked us down. But that's okay. We're not gonna let that. That's a very frustrating. Very frustrating. We was doing so good, but we should have been practicing on a bunch of different. We should have been publishing and posting on all of our different Facebooks. We shouldn't have been waiting until now. But let that be a lesson to you, Boerboels. Let that be a lesson to you, Boerboels. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. This is what happens when you allow yourself to be controlled by a Facebook or a MySpace or Instagram. When you put all of your promotional and your sharing and you put everything into one platform and it's not owned by you, then you stick to somebody else's control, and they was able to hack on into our account. Our account got hacked. So we're going ahead and so we're going to be posting a lot more. We're going to be more active on YouTube. Look for us on YouTube since we don't have that. We still getting those other Facebook channels going. So we coming at y'all today. We got an exciting episode. I hope y'all saw the picture that we had up there. That's the South African national champ, y'all. I'm gonna bring it back up. So everyone can see again. Let me see how do I do this. Give me 1 second. But yeah, we're gonna bring that back up. We're gonna talk about that. Oh, I got a video up, even better than the actual. Here's the video. Check them out, y'all. Yeah, so congratulations to the champ. The name is Font Machiavelli or Marshall. I don't have his exact name on me right now. Hold on 1 second to make sure because we want to give him credit. Congratulations to the South African Boerboel national champion 2023. Font dog in his owner and his breeder. The picture there, I thought that was interesting because you got the one guy in the front that's the owner, and then you got all of the other handlers around. Shout out to those guys too, because we know that they're the ones that's handling those dogs on a day-to-day basis, and they put in a lot of work. Shout out to everybody there involved. Congratulations. We're gonna talk about that dog and break them down just a little bit. I just want to go over that picture one more time. The dog came home with the medal. What can you say? That's the South African national champ, and that's a South African at the dog show that they have is really just based off of the dog's aesthetics. It's all about what the dog looks like, how close does he mimic the standard. And in my personal opinion, that dog is supposed to represent the ideal Boerboel, the ideal what we're all trying to go for is to be trying to produce. The dog that you crown the champion, everybody eventually starts to gravitate towards the dog. In theory, right? Because this dog is the one that you deem to be the highest value. So that's the South African national champion. I like the dog he got. He's a pretty dog. Is he a champion? That's up to the judges. That's not for me to decide. But I wanted to share. Congratulations. It's a black dog, though. And I think that it's relevant because, pardon me, we remember we have took our black Boerboel to the show in West Virginia, and it was a highly controversial. It was a black Boerboel. He had ended up winning medals, and that day he took home some medals. That was a shout out to Boogie representing for the Boerboel breed and the exotic Boerboel family. And Joseph Walker came on the show, allegedly, told his position why he did that, because we was facing a lot of criticism for doing so. People were saying, "Oh, you promoting the crossbreed, you promoting the wrong thing. You taking the dog, you taking a mixed breed dog to the show. The black dogs are not respected. They're not accepted. They're not recognized by the AKC. However, you have this breed is founded in South Africa. This is the South African Boerboel, and we're going to argue. We're going to argue with the South Africans that the breed that they created, that they standardized for the globe as their own breed. We're going to argue with them. Can you argue with them? So that's just one case in point argument for the black Boerboel's inclusion. Why we need to get this black Boerboel in some form or fashion included into. It doesn't even have to be the AKC, but that's the reason for so many different organizations. And I think that it's a good thing. It's a positive thing for it to have all of these different clubs with all of these different styles of Boerboels. Pardon me, Boerbuds. Let me check and see what's going on because.
What's up, Boerbuds? You all know Jordan Pittman, a humble leader of the best African Boerboel owners and a passionate dog enthusiast for 15 years now. He raises South African Boerboel pups into dogs beyond what most people expect a large breed would be. And if he can do it, so can you. And he is more than happy to share, help, and teach you about everything you need to know based on his awesome experience raising South African Boerboels. You can schedule consultations with him and ask him anything, and I mean anything, and become an awesome breeder. Learn everything that you can from our past experience of.
Yeah, we have to make sure, we have to remember we still in a hostile environment, okay? We have to make sure that everything is okay. We can't just go let barking dogs go unchecked. We got to make sure, we got to see what's going on when that we got to investigate it. Because we can, at least let our presence be felt, make people know, hey, the dog is not alone. Check the dog, see what's going on. Because at any given time, you never know when. You always have to be ready. And like I said, getting back to the black Boerboels and the inclusion of the black Boerboels and the recognition of these different organizations, why we have to have so many different organizations, right? Why we have to have so many different organizations. One thing that a point that I want to make, right? In the very beginning, when I first came into the breed, I always discussed genetics. One of the first questions that I wanted to learn from other breeders was about how should this dog be bred? How is the Boerboel bred? Do you line breed it towards a certain dog? Because that's very popular within the pit bull circles, and certain traditional dog breeding schools of thoughts tend to say that line breeding, inbreeding is how you lock in the type and get consistency within the lines. And that's basically breeding within a pool of a gene pool that is closed, a whole family of dogs. This is really ain't recent information, it's common sense, and it goes all the way back to middle genetics. Recently, they've been publishing findings about how purebred dogs, these closed gene pools, are having detrimental effects to the longevity of dogs. They're not practicing this in any other breed, mammal species, where you're doing this type of ancestral matings, basically, and the detrimental effects. So that's why I think it's a beautiful thing for the Boerboel to have the black Boerboel included, because you got to remember this breed is basically, if in my classification, is not like other standardized purebred dogs. It's not like a traditional purebred dog. The Boerboel has many different characteristics compacted into one dog from a variety of breeds. And it's got the best traits of like 14 different breeds, characteristics. And they were breeding this dog out of necessity. they had a fundamental need for these dogs at this time during this evolutionary period. Remember, South Africa is kind of like, I don't want to say third world to describe it. I don't have the exact words, but they're not as a modernized society, let's say, so to speak, as many other places in the world. They're a little bit behind the times. Remember that they had to have the international community step in to put pressure on South Africa in order for them to end the apartheid. They're a little bit behind the times when everybody else had, that was frowned upon by in civilized nations, the way that they were treating people, the injustices that was occurring. They were still trying to hold on to this prehistoric way. This is still South African, but so they still have this fundamental need for these dogs, tying it back into the dogs. The South African Boerboel is designed as a breed of dog for function. So the purpose of these dogs was priority in their selection criteria. They took these dogs that had fit into these roles, into their families, in their the way that they lived. Remember, the dogs had first line of defense, primary source of protection. You in these remote locations, the police might not be able to get there in time. They don't have the cell phones, and they just now getting up to speed with the internet and all of that. So these dogs didn't really have to mimic a certain look. They had to have a value in terms of function. They had to have a usefulness, and that's the breed that we arrived to today. That's why they fit in so well. That's why they are so popular. They're so loving. They're so everything that a dog can be. They embody everything that the dog could possibly be. They got the best of everything. They're the most athletic. They got some of the best health, which we start to see in decline. Why? Because of this standardization, this desire to create a pure race, so to speak, where that it breeds true, and every generation replicates the next generation. We already saw that this was a failed ideology, and the royal families, where they were inbreeding. If we look at the Whitakers, if you go Google the Whitakers, the most inbred family in the United States, you will see that the Whitakers look like, I don't want to say they look like dogs, but they have some characteristics, traits of the dogs. When you see these inbred dogs and they got the big bug eyes, and I don't want to talk to people. I don't want to break it because I don't think that that's at the point that I'm making. This inbreeding has detrimental effects and has undesired results in the long term. So that's a great argument for the inclusion of the black Boerboel. While it's a necessity to breed with the black Boerboel, if you're going to have Boerboels, or to include dogs that have black in the bloodlines, because they only started this breed with 80 dogs. They introduced the dog, and that was in 1983. Fast forward to 2005, 2006, when they introduced the black Boerboel. So from that time all the way up until you had a closed gene pool that was all related to this original 80 dogs, without the inclusion of other land races. So we had a very limited gene pool. And I think that those dogs, you're going to see big changes in. You already see reduced fertility, a lot of breeding issues. You already see tons of complications with the breedings, temperament issues, unstable temperaments, right? You got all kinds of stories, non-disclosure agreements. You look at the people that's breeding in the AKC. I don't want to try to make it about putting nobody down or saying nothing, but it has been some issues in the rise, and some of the dogs that's coming out of the AKC, and it's just in the breeding channel. I don't think that it's issues here now is a big problem, but we're starting to see subtle signs. Subtle signs. The reduction of fertility is a big red flag. You talk to breeders, you talk to people, and they will tell you that they have complications with their breeding, complications with conceiving, low fertility rates, and you see it especially in the highly exaggerated females. So when I'm talking about exaggerated females, I'm talking about extremely muscular. I'm talking about extreme, exaggerated, not within balance, not within proportions to the dog. We're talking about exaggerated, where this dog just looks almost freakish and mutated. Those are signs of the genes doubling up and you having these issues. This is where the issues arise. When you start to have this mutation, basically morphs in the genetics, where they're getting further and further away from variety, right? The varieties. You start to see these morph reoccurring, because if you see a dog like that with this really pushed in face, right, and this like almost like big shoulders and back, this freakish like, right? Those type of traits and characteristics you cannot get away from. You cannot breed. So let's say that when you have those exaggerations, it's a fact that you're tipping the scale. So you have to compensate for the oversized chest, the oversized, the overdevelopment, the height, anything that's exaggerated. Nose is extremely pushed in, you sacrifice wind capacity. If the dog is extremely large, you sacrifice in agility. So this is just a known fact, and these are examples of that compromise. Anytime that you have this extreme exaggeration, it's lead to complications. And once you have that locked into your program, there is no getting away from it. There is no getting around it. So when you see these dogs, and I'm saying this because I like to see people have great success. I've also noticed in my research, in my many years of research, it's just me, the reoccurring thing with the best producing dogs. And I wanted to highlight the producing dogs. Maybe they're not judging that dog at the championship of the producing dogs. The producing dogs is not all about what they look like. The producing is not all about what they look like. Pardon me. Joe! Pardon me. But I can't focus with the dog doing that. So I was saying, though, you're not judging the dog off its ability to produce. They're judging the actual dog in front of them. When you're looking at the dog's ability to produce, you're going to start to weigh a lot of the ancestors. You're going to weigh the progeny. You're going to weigh the siblings, any dog that you can find that's related. But if you're judging a dog off of how he looks, the dog that's in front of him, that's what they man that dog on. If you're looking at the dogs with the best production records within this breed, and I've studied them, right? I've studied them. You're going to see that they're not line bred. You're not going to see, when I say line bred, you're not going to see reoccurring ancestors within the first 3-4 generations. That's just not how it works within this breed. And even when I was doing mine, I was locking in certain traits and characteristics, but I found that the best dogs was when I started going outside my own family of dogs. The best dogs, when I was breeding Iceberg, when I was developing my crosses, and then what I did is to bring back those certain traits and genetics that I thought was the most valuable, which was the structure and the athleticism. And I really saw out the drive from the Iceberg line. I really liked the drive, and I liked the fact that those dogs was like robust. You know, they was powerful, they was big, they weren't. That was their thing with those lines. And if you look again at the modern genetics, the dogs that have included those Iceberg bloodlines, you're going to see that again, where those dogs just tend to have a little bit more volume. They have more mass because that is the only alternative bloodline within the breed. You got, and it's funny how they have exited the breed. They felt that the Boerboels, those ones, the other breeds that were like more tightly bred, because remember my friend Courtney G. I mean, hey, what's up, Emily? My friend, I'm gonna go back to this. Went over there, RIP Courtney G. You know what I'm saying? This is one of my original mentors. This is him over there in South Africa. He's a comedian. He was a comedian, and this is the guy from Iceberg Kennels. I don't know if it's Stoffels or Craig or what. That's Stoffels, I guess. That's Stoffels. So that's where Penny came from. My friend Courtney, we started out with the Boerboel, the Corsos. He was mentoring me, but the Corso market was oversaturated, and the dogs were a little bit more than I needed for myself. You know, I didn't think that a Corso male would be ideal for me because I had a Corso female. The Corso female was very intense. I told you that she had bit 13 people. I mean, she was running across the street biting people, and I didn't think that, you know, when she was triggered, and there was people that needed to be bit, but when I call you back, you know, you're supposed to come back, and that Corso was just a bit much for what I have, you know, being a family man and so on and so forth. But what we did was with the Boerboel, I forgot why I had mentioned that. But my friend Courtney, he mentored me. He you know, taught me some valuable lessons. Rip Courtney G. But I felt like, you know, there was too much. Ohio is also home to Scandifio Connie Corsos, which is an original importer of the Connie Corso, very popular breeder here. It was just too much. It was too much in that breed. So I switched over to the Boerboels. I only had one Corso. The Boerboels I was in love. It's like a super Corso. So I got the Boerboel, and Courtney G was so impressed with my Boerboel. He could not believe it. He got a show in South Africa, and he went and visited 2 kennels, right? And I'm gonna tie this all back in with my original point. He went and visited Mighty Boerboels, the Mighty bloodline, and which dogs was very consistent. All the dogs look the same. If you go to the Mighty, any dogs that's got Mighty in their bloodline, they have Mighty Boerboels in their bloodline. Mighty Bismarck is one, Mighty Bonzo. Those dogs tend to be red. They all tend to be extremely muscular, compact, torquey-like type built dogs. And this was reoccurring across the board. I don't know what happened to Mighty Boerboels, but they faded out. Their dogs were more tightly bred. I did note that about the Mighty Boerboels. And to me, they just didn't have the longevity. This is just my personal opinion. Getting back to the Iceberg dogs now, which is the dogs that is really highly touted in this breed, right? Anybody that had a successful program that lasted beyond 5 to 10 years, their dogs have some type of form of an Iceberg dog behind it, somewhere in the back of the pedigree. Because if you don't have any of those Iceberg dogs that adds the flavor and the variety to your bloodline, what you have is an extremely inbred dog. And like I said, when you start to inbreed the dogs, the success of the programs don't tend to last. If you want to have great success within the Boerboel breed, you got to include these dogs. Later, the Mighty Boerboels faded. I don't know what happened to them. The Iceberg dogs, when my friend Courtney G went to visit there, he said they was all over the place. He said he had about 80 dogs running around. He said they was he had all different tall ones. He had small ones. He had white ones. He had ones with pieballs. He had ones with tick markings. And he had ones that looked like Great Danes. He had ones that looked like bulldogs. He had all different kind, all different style. And I'm gonna have to put that dog in the house. But he had all of these different flavors and varieties of dogs, right? And then my iceberg dogs, this history, you can't get this anywhere else, by the way. These websites where all of this information existed is no longer around. You can't find these websites anymore. I looked because I would like to reference them. But the original iceberg story was this dog came from 14 different. The iceberg genetics was their own breed. It was their own breed of dogs. They eventually walked away from the breed. Once the inclusion of the Boerboel, they decided to determine that the iceberg mastiff, which was a different dog, that it was recognized by a lot of people that these genetics, the iceberg genetics. So you have anyone that includes those dogs. The reason that I'm bringing this all together is, Boer for the best of the breed. If you look at the Boerboels, if you look at the black ones, look at the dogs that have the black ones in there. These are the programs that are thriving. These are the dog programs that the dogs are standing out. The dogs are really making a big impact because the human eye, we are able to determine a lot based off of what we see, right? We're doing this subconsciously. The health is extremely evident, right? Strong, healthy, and powerful. It just looks better, right? We don't know why people just drawn to this black dog, right? We don't know this why these dog people drawn to these black genetics, but they are, right? Part of it to me. And the reason I explain is the abundance of health is evident. If you look at Bagheera and the book that we had out today, um, Bingo is her name. We look at those two dogs that we had out today. Look at the health in the coat, right? Look at the health and the essential oils that's being expressed in the coat. That's a true indicator of the health and vitality of the dog. If you're looking at the coat, right? One of the first things that people say, if you you don't look so good, they're looking at your eye, looking at your skin, right? So hair and nails. So I thought that was some valuable information. I thought that was pretty insightful. I thought that was insightful. The fact that it was ironic. It was just being crucified for exhibiting all black Boerboel in the American Kennel Club that doesn't accept the black Boerboels, supposed to be the caretaker of the breed in the USA. Was now funny. So yeah, you have right. That was the caretaker, the overseer of the breed in the USA, determined that this should not be included. Yet in South Africa, it was. We being crucified for taking our dog to the show. All we trying to do is show love to the dogs and is show them in any capacity that is possible and available to us. And we go to the show, and we didn't have any bad intentions whatsoever, and we being crucified and condemned for doing so. It's got to be or something out there. Boerboels. We got so much valuable content. Stay tuned. The only thing we ask from you today, if you find this information valuable, share with someone who else maybe find it valuable also. If you know someone that can use this news, pass it on. If this information is helping you, or let us know what we need to do to make it more valuable for you. Hold on, pardon me, so I can see this a little better. Family, we still going, but share this information. We got so much coming soon, right? We working so hard behind the scenes that and I hope that it's proven and it's evident in what we're doing, what you can see, right? Let our actions speak. We're going to be really turning up. We got the Boerboel book is on the way, right? We're going to have this, and then we ain't charging for ours. It's going to be for the free 99, and that's going to be a complete guide from 17 years worth of experience. We also going to have the secret guide. Today I hope I didn't miss it when I told you earlier, saw the live stream earlier, where I said that I was going to be talking about how to sell the dogs, how to make light on yourself, how to promote your and how to have great success. Those are some valuable secrets, and I don't mind sharing, right? But we're gonna do that. We're gonna keep it that. We're gonna have that in a very calculated way. Yeah, we're gonna do this in a very calculated way, right? We want to make sure that those who getting it are rocking with us, not against us. Because I'm gonna tell you something that you might not believe. It might be hard to believe this, but we got people that's actually watching us that don't like what we're doing. They're watching us so they can knock us. They look for chinks. They're looking for weakest links. But guess what? This is legit. It's 100% legit. Too legit to quit. We MC Hammer on them. Everything that we doing, this is true to the facts. Everything you see us doing, our message is real. What we're trying to accomplish is not about us. What it's not about is nothing personal. It's for the community. It's community based, and it's for the greater good of us because we have to have each. We need each other to produce the best dogs. Can't do it alone. It takes too many dogs. It's not fair to the dogs. So with that being said, I know it might be unbelievable, but it's real. And we got some people that trying to knock us, they watch us to knock us. So we can't give them, we don't want to give them the gun to pop us with it. We're not going to give them the tools to defeat us. Exotic Boerboel Familia. That's come from hard work, blood, sweat, and tears, many, many, many years that we have invested into this process to develop these formulas. And we're going to share these with the ones that shows the most love through the actions. Giving back. The book is coming soon. We're going to have it for the free 99. Hopefully it'll be out by Sunday. Then we are also going to have the secrets, the guide to get your puppies gone in the quality homes. I'm going to tell you straight up, one of the biggest mistakes that you're making right now is you're not sharing. You have to be willing to share. You don't, when you have something that's very precious, sometimes, all the time, part of what you have to do is be willing to share it with others. Joku is driving me crazy, so I have to go. I hate to end the show. It has so much to talk about. But guess what? Next week, we coming back again. We're going to hit them back to back until we get on track. Week in and week out. Some kind of way. We missed. We're supposed to be going on the 1st and the 15th. Boerboels, I hope that you walked away today with more than you came with. Something here today was of value to you. Don't forget to lock in with us with the United Boerboel Club. That's coming. We got a lot of stuff in the works. Stay tuned, brothers.
No rush, go on, move dumb. Back and forth, push and shove. Make your peace and love turn to peace and gloves. Now you got a deal run up. No rush, go on, move dumb. Back and forth, push and shove. Make your peace and love turn to peace and now you got a deal run up. Ball gang, gold man, old school.